Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How are you doing tonight?
Feeling a little better, Bruce. I'm still coughing, but I've set up the humidifier in my room finally when I sleep. Seems to be making a difference. When I get a cold, I get it for like 18 years.
Uh-huh.
All right. Bruce, quite an exciting game tonight. The Oilers lost their fourth game in a row, but it was a very exciting game. They came back from a 2-0 deficit to tie it up until they lost in the last minute. Was it the last minute or the last?
17:27 of the third was the winner, and then they spent the last 2 minutes frantically looking for the equalizer and not getting it.
Oh, Hyman came so close, but he couldn't. Just bounced off his stick. Bruce, the Oilers had 13 grade A shots to 7 for the Boston Bruins. So they were the better team in flow of play in terms of creating grade A shots, but that doesn't always win you the hockey game, and it didn't tonight. So we'll do our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. We'll do 2 bad things because it's a tough Oilers loss. 2 bad things each. What's your first good thing?
Well, my good thing is some of the defensive plays made by the Oilers early in the third period, which unfortunately they couldn't match late in the third period. But when it was 2-1 Boston, and there was 3 times I was certain Boston was about to pot the 3-1 goal that surely would have put this away, as good a defensive team as the Bruins are. And 3 times, 3 different Oilers came up with a heroic play. One was Connor McDavid lifting the stick of Jake DeBrusk for what looked like an automatic tap in from close range. And this was like very early in the third, maybe a minute in, but McDavid came all the way back, read the play, and timed the stick lift perfectly so that instead of the tap in, the puck went skittering right on through and the chance went away. Second play, a few minutes after that, was Markus Niemelainen making a really good play to clear a rebound that looked like 2 Bruins were waiting to pop that one home. And Niemelainen had to do the full 180 to find the puck, stretch, and make an immediate hard clear, because there were sticks going hard for that puck, and he had the hardest, heaviest stick of all and got that one out of danger. And again, it would have been a tap in. Skinner would have had no chance. And then the third one, when it was still 2-1 for Boston, and still early in the third, because Edmonton tied it just before the midway point of the third, this one goes to Stuart Skinner himself, and stopping a one-time blast off of the very dangerous stick of David Pastrnak. And this, of course, is the only one that we count as a high danger scoring chance for Boston. It's the one that Pastrnak got on net, because the other 2 plays didn't turn into chances because of the defensive plays. So that's I don't want to necessarily call it a weakness in our system, but it's something that we don't cover is strong defensive plays that prevent chances. We look at the chances and what builds up to them. So sometimes players that make strong defensive plays, don't get fully recognized them, but when they make mistakes, they sure do by our method, which is one of the reasons why I like a spectrum of statistics, but also just simply the old eyeball test. And these 3 cases, 3 different Oilers came up huge in critical moments that kept the team in the game, and in fact did give them a chance to tie it, and in theory gave them a chance to win it. But so that was at least a sign of the teams paying attention to detail in the defensive zone. And granted, there was some chaos leading up to those particular details being required, but at least somebody around the net came up with the big play at the big moment. So I thought collectively those 3 plays to keep the game close were a very good thing.
The third one, especially, a little chaos there. They didn't get out to the point. I think it was McLeod. McLeod was looking like he's going out there, and then he didn't really go, and then Fogle. It was just, McLeod has got to get out there. If he's going to do it, do it. And then Nurse was just floating in the red light zone on that play. He had an otherwise pretty strong game, although he screened the goalie on the winning goal. But he was totally floating in the red light zone, not covering anyone and not covering off any passing lane. And boom, Bouchard's caught down low there. We gave him a major mistake. It was almost like he was closest to the shot, but man, that was a tough play for him to make. But it was, I think, mainly on Nurse, who just kind of had wandered out of position. And there you go. You get a 5-alarm chance, which Stuart Skinner stopped.
Sure did. Of course, failure to cover the point did come back to bite them in the ass late in the third period.
And we'll get to that.
And we will get to that.
My good thing was Leon Draisaitl, who was just played out of his mind this game. He was so good. He kept a clean sheet on defense, not one major mistake on a grade A shot against, which is something on his line, which got outshot badly. I don't know if he did personally, but he was just so solid, all aspects of the game. And then, the Oilers came back in the game their new fashioned way with Draisaitl lashing in 2 executioner shots on the power play. The second one being particularly spectacular because he was about on the goal line again, and McDavid fed it over. Draisaitl is the only player, I think, in the NHL who can consistently make that shot. Normally you wouldn't say that's a grade A shot, and I think some of the shot metric systems, if they just go by shot location and distance, wouldn't consistently credit Leon with grade A shots. And I might have been a little slow to come to that too, that's a grade A shot. But when he's making 30-40% of those shots, turning them into goals, those are grade A shots, I can assure you. And he lashed in a couple of those. He was 18 wins, 15 losses on the faceoff dot, which he was the only Oiler to really hold his own in that regard. He almost set up Hyman. He did set up Hyman right at the end of the game for what could have easily been the game tying goal, but Hyman couldn't cash it in. I gave him an 8. I could have given him a 9. Really, he was fantastic that game. Great game by Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah, he was very good on the face-off dot. As you say, he was 18, 15, 55%, 33 face-offs he took in this game. That is a lot. In fact, that's just over half of the face-offs in the game that Leon was personally involved in. And the rest of the team, in their remaining 32 face-offs, they won 10 and lost 22. Against Boston, that's always been an exceptionally good face-off team. And just give me a sec. I thought I had the right game. Didn't. I just want to look at Leon in the head-to-head, but because on Boston's side, the great Patrice Bergeron went 18 and 13 on the face-off dot. And I know they went up against each other quite a lot, and I was interested just to see how that.
Why don't I'll go to my.
Went. Sure.
I'll go to my first bad thing. And Bruce, it was the referees on Boston's second goal. 2, I think, atrocious calls led to Boston scoring. And refs will make mistakes, just like every other human being. So I want to start out by saying that.
Yeah.
It's a little frustrating, though, as a fan, because we've seen this last time they played Boston. Marchand got 2 phantom calls against the Oilers when he dived and got penalties. This time it's early in the second period, and he goes into the corner with Draisaitl. For the life of me, I don't know what Draisaitl did. I think Draisaitl did nothing. And Marchand, he works his way into he skates in front of you, works his way into your body, and falls down. And he got the refs to buy that. Very frustrating that the refs aren't onto this player at this point and don't call him for, what's it called?
Embellishment?
Is that it? Yeah.
There is a rule against that.
I think it's a different word, but anyway. Don't call him for that. He deserved it. Anyway, they get the power play. Smart gamesmanship, as they say, from Marchand. And then the Oilers win the puck behind the net. Cutter Yamamoto's about to clear it, and he gets tripped. Immediately afterwards, they take the puck off him, and they whip it into the slot, and they score. Like he's tripped right in front of the referee.
He was looking right at it.
And he zaps
15
him in the
feet away.
It takes him down. Just ridiculous, pathetic incompetence by the referee on that play. I mean, I can see getting fooled by Marchand. It evidently happens. Sometimes you're going to get fooled by KG players, but that was just right in front of the ref, and it had a disastrous consequence. Boston got up 2-0. That's a huge hole for any team to dig themselves out of it. Credit to the Oilers that they almost did. But yeah, I just think that I was infuriated by that.
Yeah, I was too. I mean, anytime a ref misses a call that causes a turnover and an immediate goal is going to enrage you, but it's going to doubly enrage you when they do so on a power play that never should have happened in the first place because of a completely phantom call. Same ref, number 14, Trevor Hansen, blew both calls, and he was looking right at him. Anyway, there was lots of other calls in this game. Edmonton got some calls, but those two right in a row essentially put a goal on the scoreboard for Boston, and they won by 1 goal. So those kind of calls make me bitter about the officiating, and they did tonight. I'll leave it there.
Me too. All right, what's your bad thing?
Oh boy. Well, my first bad thing has to be the first goal of the game. When Edmonton's vaunted power play that was at that point 1 for their last 17, and they got a chance to put an imprint on the game. And of course, the first goal of the game has been a huge problem for Edmonton for a while now. 13 of the last 16 we're up to. And on this one, Leon Draisaitl cleanly won the face-off back to the point. And Tyson Barrie, I'm not quite sure what he was doing back there, but he tooled around on the point, and he wound up doing a spin around her, and he tried to make a soft backhand pass up the boards to Nugent-Hopkins. Two problems. One was he tried to do this against the great Patrice Bergeron, one of the best thinkers, readers of the game going, and he read the play, managed to get in there, get a stick in there before the puck ever reached the Nuge, and then make a nice pass into open ice. And the other problem was that his partner in crime, Brad Marchand, was out there killing penalties with him, and that's been a devastating penalty-killing duo in this league for 10-plus years now. And Marchand got the clear breakaway from center in, and you just knew he wasn't going to miss, and he sure didn't miss. He went. Whatever you just did turned the echo on.
Oh, I just turned my mic back on. Okay. Is it still on now?
I hope not.
Oh, okay.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Just keep. Is it still?
Sounds like it.
Okay. Off and on here again. How about now?
Do something about this.
Yeah.
Anyway, Marchand went in and he beat Stuart Skinner on the same move that we've seen beat Stuart Skinner on several breakaways this year, which is a deke to the quick deke and the high shot. And I mean, that's going to work out for a goal oftentimes, but Skinner, he's a little bit stationary in the net. I think I made this comment in a previous game, and in Seattle last game. They scored the 3-2 goal on a breakaway where the guy basically went around him and roofed it. And there was also a game in Buffalo where he had 2 breakaways that were wound up in goals. Anyway, I'm not going to necessarily blame Stuart Skinner. I just didn't think he had much of a chance against Brad Marchand. And I was right. But a very weak, soft play by Tyson Barrie. And he knew he was in trouble, and he almost picked off the pass. And he guessed where the puck was going to go, and it just missed his stick. And sure enough, it goes right through to Marchand and in. But just a soft, kind of careless play with the puck, and against players too good to be trying that stuff against. And they burned him, third degrre.
Hockey happens fast out there, Bruce.
It sure does.
I felt sorry for him, honestly. If you've ever been a defenseman on the point, trying to make plays, man.
And Barrie got 2 assists on power play goals later in the game. He didn't stink the whole game, but he had a tough first period with 3 giveaways. Presumably that was one of them. I haven't looked at the play-by-play, but he had 3 giveaways and the crucial mistake. That's the first shorthanded goal the Oilers have given up all year, but boy, did it cost them.
When that echo comes, Bruce, does it last or does it go away after a while?
It went away again, so
okay.
I don't understand.
Maybe if I have the cough button on too long, That's what causes it. So just have to have it on when I cough,
Right, of course.
and then turn it off. Okay. Hopefully the cough will be gone soon.
What's your
In the
second good thing, David?
next month or two. Second bad thing.
Or bad thing? Yes,
You know,
indeed.
Bruce,
Other loss.
Nugent's played well this year
Mhm.
on the power play, and at times at even strength. But he has been. We've heard Dave Tippett kind of grouse now and then about guys not giving the same effort as Zach Hyman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he has Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in mind at even strength, but he sure could have this game.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a highly skilled player, fantastic player. He's got to dig in harder. He has got to get his nose over the puck. Tonight I felt he was a real passenger at even strength. Really disappointed with his play. He's got to do better. And on the winning goal, he was one of the culprits on the sequence of pain. Came off the wall. Bouchard was a little soft coming off the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Nuge was not on it, and Zach Hyman came over to kind of cover for Nuge in a way, and then he left his point wide open, and Grilchik went in and scored. With Nurse and the Boston forward completely screening Edmonton goalie Stuart Skinner. So, yeah, I when he was on the ice, I think I looked it up. The Oilers had 4 shots,
Yep.
and Boston had, I think,
15.
15.
15-4.
It's not always your fault when you're outshot,
Mm-hmm.
but it was Nuge's fault tonight, and he's got to do better, and the Oilers need him to do better. I don't know what his even strength scoring is this year, but it was abysmal last year. So, what do we got? An 8-year contract here, Bruce? Crank it up, Nuge. Like, you can do better than this. I'm not saying the
He has eight
contract.
points in 25 games at even strength,
Yeah, I'm
and
not saying.
13 points on the power play, 2 shorthanded. So
Yeah,
he's been good on special teams. But yeah, they were outplayed. And when they did the switch up, of course, every time they move Draisaitl up, Nuge winds up moving from left wing to center. So it's a tall ask. They're asking him to play 2 positions in the same game. But
yeah,
his line, after Draisaitl left his line and he moved into the center spot, his line didn't create a whole lot, and they were chasing the game a fair bit. And those shot totals certainly support that. Uh, I'll pile on by singling out one play in the final minute of play, which was not even strength. Well, technically, it's, I guess, 6-on-6, but the Oilers had the goalie out, and they'd been putting all kinds of pressure on Boston. Boston iced the puck. Edmonton called a timeout. There's like 45 seconds on the clock. Draisaitl wins the face-off. It goes, Nugent-Hopkins gets it in the corner. He's like on a really low angle. There's no Oilers right in front of the net, and for no apparent reason, he fires a shot from nowhere, misses the net, hits the corner boards, and goes all the way down the ice into Edmonton territory. There goes 15 of your 45 seconds with a play that it had no chance. Like, he could try that shot 1,000 times. He's not going to beat an NHL goalie from there without a screen, a deflection, some kind of traffic in front. Like, there was no reason to shoot the puck. And for a guy that's generally credited, including by me, as a smart player, that was a dumb play. There was no advantage to doing that. The Oilers had full possession, and they still had full possession after Barrie won the race down to his own end and got hassled by Marchand. But by that time, 15 seconds has gone by, and they're 200 feet away. So
yeah.
what was that about? Got to execute. The Oilers haven't scored a single goal with their goalie pulled this year, and they got to. For all the great power play skill they got to execute with the game on the line once in a while. It just hasn't been happening, and plays like that sure don't help.
Is it time for your second bad thing?
Yes, it is. And I'm going to single out a guy who rarely gets identified as a bad thing, Zach Hyman, who had a very tough night tonight. Officially, his box scars are no points, -2, a penalty which put his team 2 men short, no shots on net. And Hyman had critical plays at the end of the game. which I'm just going to look at these two plays. One was a poor coverage decision combined with inability to execute the play when he left his point man to come across to try and help on the strong side where the puck was, and the whole Oilers abandoned the weak side of the ice. Well, that's his job, is to cover off on the other side. And when he came over to try and take out the passer and missed the pass, his man, Matt Grelchik, wound up with the puck on the stick and all day to, wind up, pick his spot, let the screen develop. There was no pressure on Grelchik at all. And he was able to take a full slap shot because the guy that was supposed to be covering him was 30 feet away. And then a minute later, the Oilers have their goalie pulled, desperately trying to get that late goal back. And Draisaitl fires a hard pass right on Hyman's stick, and he just can't handle it. Like it's a tap in if he can control it at all. And instead, it kind of went cockeyed off his stick sideways across the crease, and it hit the goalie, who was badly beaten by the pass. Like it was, and that was the chance that they had to tie it. And again, they just couldn't execute at the critical moment. To even get 1 point in this game would have felt good, but to come away with nothing. And unfortunately, the guy, I'm never going to criticize. Rarely, he's going to have to do something way out of character before I criticize him for not working hard. And I'm not criticizing him for that. I'm criticizing him for not executing, and for a poor decision in a critical defensive situation.
He was able to draw a penalty, surprisingly, after he got hooked twice for about 30 seconds each time.
Oh, yeah.
The ref finally held up his arm.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce, that wasn't even a grade A shot at the end from Hyman because it
wasn't a shot at all.
It just bounced right off the stick.
Yeah.
He just wasn't ready. He wasn't set, and that'll happen. I'm sure he's just killing himself right now over that. He just must be so upset over that play because he's a professional and they're paid to score. Bruce, numbers. My number is 10th.
Did you do both of your bad things?
I did both mine. I went first.
Oh, did you? Okay. Paying attention.
The refs and...
right, Nugent, the refs, yeah.
My bad thing is...
Number.
The Oilers, my number, excuse me, now we're all confused. Now I'm all confused.
My bad.
The Oilers were first in winning percentage. Just in recent memory, I just remember saying it a couple of weeks ago. And Bruce, they are now 10th in the NHL for winning percentage, .640. 16 wins, 9 losses, below Colorado and just above Anaheim, below Calgary. So they're sitting in the middle of a pumpkin right now, Things have fallen off the rails here, and that was a better game, though. That was a better effort, and we'll see if, sometimes, no team is a powerhouse in the NHL, an absolutely dominant team in the NHL, I don't believe. They're all going to go through rough patches. They're all going to have periods where they think they're better than they are, and they start to cheat on defense and not work as hard and take teams more lightly than they should. And then they got to suffer. They got to have some misery and some losses to get the habits back. And the habits were coming back tonight. I think that they should be happy with that game in a lot of ways, and just need a better result next time. What's your number?
Yeah. Well, you say a couple weeks ago. It was 1 week ago, David, that the Oilers were 16-5. They lost on Friday. They lost on Sunday. They lost on Tuesday. They lost on Thursday, all in regulation, not a single point. Now they're 16-9. And so, on the other hand, Ken Holland, the slow build, right? He got to 12th the first year, 11th last year. Now we're up to 10th. Another, 9 more years? Will we get challenging for the top?
Come on.
Gotta get my digs in when the numbers are on my side. Here's my number, David. 23-12. 23 is the number of goals scored by Leon Draisaitl so far this year. In what was this, game number 25? 23 goals. The 12 is the collective total number of goals scored by players that identify as bottom sixers on the Oilers. Of that group, they're led by Zach Kassian and his 4 goals, one of which was scored when he was actually playing higher up the lineup. Ryan McLeod has 3, Warren Fogle has 2, including none in just close to 20 games now since he scored. Despite his best efforts tonight, he was excellent in this game, but no finish. Kyle Turris, Devon Shore, Derek Ryan, each tied with 1. Colton Sevier, Tyler Benson, Brandon Perlini, each tied with 0. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys that have been playing, generally 6 of them playing in any given game. And they've got 12 goals as a group in 25 games. This is the bottom 6 that was a high priority for Ken Holland this summer, and among other things, was a factor in the big trade of Ethan Bear for Warren Fogle that supposedly was going to fix the third line. Well, it ain't fixed. And I'm getting tired of talking and writing about it because Oilers' bottom 6 production has been a problem every single year but one, in all the years I've been blogging about this team since 2008.
Yeah, I wrote about the Belanger triangle.
You did. And it was a good post. You're right on the nail.
And it's become more than just one player, Eric Belanger, and offensive play going to die there. It's become like this just huge suck where every third line or fourth line center that the Oilers bring in seems to fall into. And it's just been an endless run of guys who have come in. And it's usually because they're too old, right? They've lost a step, and the Oilers signed them when they're a bit too old, and Boyd Gordon and now Derek Ryan and the infamous Jared Smithson. There's just been an endless run of them.
Yeah, it's not just every bottom 6 center. It's basically almost every bottom 6er. Whatever history they have elsewhere of scoring goals, it just evaporates when they get to Edmonton. Remember Toby Reeder came here with 4 double-digit goal seasons, and he couldn't score once in the entire season. I mean, I don't know what it is. It must be something in the water, David.
Just bring us into Matt Hendricks. Although Colton Seavier's kind of trending in the Matt Hendricks kind of. I'm really liking Colton Seavier. I think he's playing well. So there's one guy, and Fogel's been up and down. I think he'll get it together, but they're waiting on Dylan Holloway here, Bruce, to
0 goals, 1 assist, -5 though for Colton Sevier. I mean, there's things to like about his play, and I'm rooting for the guy, but man, he's got hands of stone. It seems like he's had no finish at all with 0 goals in 16 games. So
Manos de Pedros, is that what they were called? Otto Duran. Sorry,
hands of stone.
Yeah, I'm sorry for Roberto Duran. Hands of stone. I'm sure.
I used to tell Louis DeBrusque that mano a mano does not mean man to man. It means hand to hand. He says it every game, and every time I just shake my head because he said it as if it meant man to man.
Manos. Sorry. Let me see. Manos de Piedra.
Yes.
Manos de Piedra, hands of stone.
I guess if you're using them to punch people, they're good things to have. If you want to use them to put hockey pucks into nets, you'd rather have hands of, at least meat.
You want to have, what are they called? Pink Panther hands, the jewelry thief hands.
Yeah.
All right, Bruce, let's leave it there. And
Carolina next, David.
Carolina.
Should be an easy one.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks for talking tonight, Bruce.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between time, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.